All right, what's up, everybody? It's been a while. Knicks got eliminated a while back, and I haven't made a video since. Not that I've been like depressed or anything, but it was just, it was disappointing the way the Knicks season ended. And obviously now the NBA Finals are going on, and we have a Game 7 tomorrow. We haven't had a Game 7 of the NBA Finals since 2016, so definitely something to look forward to. I haven't made any coverage of the finals. I did make a video on my TikTok, but I haven't made a YouTube video, so it's time to talk about it. The Pacers are a much better team than I anticipated. Let me just start off by saying that, and I'd be lying to you if I said that I anticipated Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I honestly thought the OKC Thunder would be able to win this series in 5 games or six at the max. And for the Pacers to do what they've done, just the way that they push the pace, the way that their bench players come into the game and just pretty much keep the same energy that the starters started off with in most of these games. Guys like TJ McConnell are just such annoying players when they're not on your team. But if you have him on your team, like the Pacers do, he's just like such a good energy guy, and he just gives you just momentum shifting plays over and over again. And as a Knicks fan myself, uh, seeing Obi Toppin do what he's doing for the Pacers is pretty frustrating because we essentially traded him away for nothing. And he's just flourishing over there. He's had a 20-point game. He's had multiple 17-point games. He just fits the Pacers system like a glove. He just fits the Pacers like a glove, really. Uh, I believe the Knicks gave up on him too early, but that's a different conversation for a different time. As for what happened in Game 6, the Pacers completely just blew out the Thunder at home. Essentially, well, not essentially, backs against the wall, because if they had lost that night, the OKC Thunder would be hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy, and they would have been crowned NBA champions. So the Pacers came out, and they honestly had a very slow start. Uh, I was watching the game, and honestly, I thought, like, okay, the Pacers are going to lose this one because they only scored 2 points in the first 4 minutes, I believe. And yeah, they just couldn't make a single shot. They couldn't get anything going. And really, what shifted the momentum is Pascal Siakam got this N1 layup to go as he was falling to the ground, got it to go in, and that pretty much just like shifted the momentum for the Pacers. They just got going right after that. So like I say, I tell people, like in basketball, it's a game of runs. It just takes one play to get a run going, and that's all they needed. And pretty much from that moment forth, the Pacers just put their foot on the gas all the way and just started to blow out the Thunder like it was nothing. And the Thunder haven't blown out like that since they played the Wolves. But when they had played the Wolves, everybody pretty much thought like, okay, well, the Wolves are gonna get this one win and whatever. But the Pacers with this win is their third win, so it's not like it's just like one win for them. This is a win that sent the series to seven games, something that we haven't had since 2016. It's not a common occurrence to have a game 7 in the finals. It's obviously really great to have, and this is just like something that is just really good for the sport. Obviously, I don't like the Indiana Pacers, but I can admit when a team is a good team, and they're a pretty good basketball team. I wish it was the Knicks playing right now, but whatever. If you like basketball and I like basketball, I can admit that they're a good team, and this is a good product. And the Thunder are a great team. I do have the OKC Thunder winning at home in Game 7. Hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite me. But I think the Thunder have just such a different uh, just feel to them when they're at home. They don't. I believe they only lost 2 home games in the playoffs so far. So yeah, I don't think that the Thunder um, are gonna let the Pacers win on their home court. I just don't see it happening. Obviously, the Thunder were absolutely rattled though in Game 6. I Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, or SGA, which is for short, obviously. SJ had 8 turnovers by himself, and I believe the Thunder as a team had about over 20. And that's very uncharacteristic for them. Very uncharacteristic for them to turn that ball over that much. They're not really a team that does that all that often. And for the Pacers to win the turnover battle, win the 3-point battle, was just a recipe for success. And you could see it pretty much right after that play that I mentioned from Siakam, that the Pacers were gonna just ride the momentum, and that's pretty much all they did. They didn't let up. Obviously, the game finished, I believe, 108-91. It wasn't as close as that seemed. By the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Thunder had emptied the bench, or at least partially emptied the bench. So the score is not exactly reflective. The final score is not exactly reflective of how big the lead was. At one point, the lead I believe was 31 points. So uh, just for the Pacers, just everybody showing up really. I mean, Halliburton, we all know Halliburton is hurt, but he was able to go out there and give them enough to where I pretty much just boosted all of his guys. I believe he had 14 points and a good amount of assists. So he didn't have to do too much, but the fact that he was able to show up and play for them obviously definitely boosted the energy of all the other guys on the team, in the locker room, the coaching staff, everyone. The Pacers just handled business. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They just completely handled business. There was no worry after the second half. The first half. I'm sorry. There was no worry after the first half. The Pacers had the game in the bag at halftime. All they had to do was not let up, and that's what they did. Um, as for what I think the strategy will change in Game 7, in Game 6, I noticed that Siakam guarded Jalen Williams a lot more than he had games 1 through 5. The Pacers were not picking up as far up the court. They weren't full court pressing, and they weren't picking up past the half court line as much. So their defense was more set up and prepared for drives and kicks and things of that nature on the offensive end from the Thunder. But I think, like what they say, which is true, role players play better at home. And do I think a guy like Aaron Wiggins or Lou Dort will have a better performance at home against the Pacers in front of their Thunder crowd? Yeah, I think Aaron Wiggins has had really good home games in these finals. I definitely think he could provide you like 12 to 15 points of just hitting threes or just doing what he does. And Lou Dort is just a guy that it's really frustrating if he's not on your team. He'll hit like these super long threes where the shot just arcs up really high and it takes a long time to go in. And when they go in, they're pretty demoralizing. And obviously, on the defensive end, everybody knows that Lou Dort is really good. He may have his foul issues, or sometimes he may be a bit too aggressive on that end, but nevertheless, he's still a very good defender. So uh, yeah, but as I said, I do think that the Thunder will win this series. I hope that they win this series because I don't know if it makes me a hater, but I don't want the Pacers to win the finals. As a Knicks fan, I'm sure you can understand that, but it's just not something that I particularly want to happen. As for the Knicks, my team, I haven't talked about them since we got to the conference finals. We did fire Tom Thibodeau. I do agree with that decision. Thibodeau, as much as I will thank him for what he did for the organization in terms of coaching and establishing a culture here, he had a lot of very obvious character flaws, and a lot of his mistakes were very obvious, especially on the defensive end in terms of his drop coverage, where he refuses to adapt. He refused to adapt, I should say. And on offense, he just wasn't creative enough. There weren't enough set plays that were run frequently. There wasn't enough schemes that made sense on the offensive end. We didn't have good ATOs, which are out of timeout plays, after timeout plays, I should say. It was a lot of ISO ball that works to a certain point, and the Pacers just completely outcoached the Knicks. And it just seemed like Rick Carlisle was just completely on top of Thibodeau with every decision he made, every move he made. And Tibbs also with his bench play, where he refuses to play a lot of guys a lot of minutes, cost the Knicks very heavily. And he just overall, it was time for him to go. Like I said, I thank Thibodeau for what he did. But yeah, the Knicks made the right decision as the coaching search goes. Do I think that they should hire Mike Brown or Taylor Jenkins? I'm okay with either of those guys. I'd probably prefer Mike Brown, or I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I'm just talking. Maybe I'm not sure I know enough about those guys as individual coachings or what their schemes are, what their beliefs are, and everything that comes with them. But I do think that they're good coaches. I do think that both of those guys are proven to be good coaches in this league. What the Knicks decide ultimately, as long as Leon Rose is there, I trust him to make the correct decision. Leon Rose has made very few mistakes in his time as the Knicks, in being the guy in charge. So yeah, I mean the Knicks, had a great season regardless. Don't get me wrong, we had a really good season. I'm very proud of this team, but it ended in a disappointing fashion. That game one will haunt us forever. That right there should have let you know that the Knicks were going to lose the series when they lost Game 1 in the fashion in which they did, being up 9 points with 50 seconds left. That will always stick with me. Honestly, I thought the game was over. Like most people thought the game was over, and they blew it, and that right there was enough for me to say, okay, Thibodeau needs to be fired because that's a coaching thing. Blowing that 9 point lead with 50 seconds. Obviously, the players are partially to blame. You could even say it's 50-50, but I just think right there, Thibodeau made the wrong decision in terms of shooting the ball, deciding to not shoot the ball, deciding to hold the ball. There's just so many different things he could have done there, uh, especially letting Aaron Nesmith hit 6 threes in the fourth quarter. You could have fouled Aaron Nesmith. You could have not let him shoot those free throws. You could intentionally foul, and then he would have to shoot free throws, make two. Let's say he makes two. That's Aaron fine. Smith hitting all those threes is something that will probably never ever happen again in the way in which he did. There was a couple of those threes where Josh Hart just like no, there was one where Josh Hart slipped, and there was another one where he just wasn't close enough. So yeah, I mean it's partially coaching, partially on the players, but regardless, Thibodeau's time has come, as I've said already. But yeah, as for the finals, it's been a good finals. I can't hate on that. And just like basketball wise, it's just been really entertaining. I can't lie. Like I'm not such a hater to where like I wouldn't watch the games. To me, basketball is basketball. You win, you lose. Do I think the Knicks will win a title next year? We'll talk about that more. That'll be another video. We're gonna talk about the off season. We'll make some hypothetical videos. We'll do a bunch of stuff. So I'm back. It's good to be back. I've been gone for a while, so thank you for watching and see you next time.